What's going on? It's your boy CJ Goodfella back with the Boston Clinic. Hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. I love to say it. Dallas Cowboys eliminated for the playoffs from what I understand. They lose to the Seattle Seahawks today. And what were wrong with the Cowboys was simply stuff that it was easily to predict. It had nothing to do with Ezekiel Elliott right now. But it was the point that defensive coordinators adjusted to the Dallas Cowboys, man. That's what it was. And Prescott, got figured out by defensive coordinators. Now it's up to him to adjust his game, to work to make his weaknesses his strength, and then make him unguardable. Of course, you can't put it all on his arm to be honest, because the Dallas pass catchers are garbage. Witten is reliable, but is he still a starting tight end right now? Cole Beasley is getting bracketed in the slot. He getting took away. Dez Bryant, is he a 1 or a 2 at this point? I don't even think he a number 2 receiver. Terrence Williams, what I understand, he don't never live up to the hype. I don't see why he's still getting reps. You feel me? But the defense is young. The back end is young. Cornerback and defensive back is two of the hardest positions to transition from college to pro in. And I think they got a good future back there and a good future on defense. They bring Lawrence and Hitchens back. But overall, man, they can point to the coaching all you want to. But with Jerry Jones, he ain't going to let nobody have, full, power over making, personnel moves for the betterment of the Cowboys. He's still trying to build the Cowboys in his image and what it was in the 90s, which is not a bad idea. But times change and technology changes to how you scout and grade these new players. But let's get into the review of the Cowboys and Seahawks game. I watched majority of it, and Cowboys came out. It was kind of both offenses was kind of stagnant. The Cowboys, I believe, scored a couple of field goals, man, and Dan Bailey missed a field goal late. It was pretty much the offense and Dez Bryant with his fumbles, and then people say, Trey Aikman tried to put the interception on Dak, which was cool, but it did hit Dez's hands, and Dez get paid $70 million to make catches like that. If he was a regular, $1 million, $2 million a season type of receiver, I understand. But Dez made, several critical mistakes and so did Dak Prescott that turned into cash, points for the Seattle Seahawks today, man. And, it was just battle of the turnovers. Seahawks didn't do nothing. They had more penalty yards than regular yards, and it was just the Cowboys not being mentally and physically prepared to go out there and do war. Without Tyron Smith, they got ate up. Frank Clark and those boys was eating up front. And Seattle keeps their playoff hopes alive. Wilson made just enough plays to throw to Doug Baldwin. They could do a touchdown to Jimmy Graham. It wasn't even him. He wasn't the reason why they were scoring points. It was the reason why the Cowboys was turning the ball over. And Seattle just so happened to capitalize and turn into points, man. And, it is what it is, man. They got to get back to the drawing board, man. They got a good young defense to mold around. You always want to add to that. That Heath guy can be a starting safety for you. They got to go get them a starting safety on defense. Maybe get them another pass rusher or two. I know Taco, it looked pretty good today, but you don't know what's going to happen with Lawrence. Maybe get you a linebacker or two. Ain't got to get nothing high and fancy. If you could bring in a number one corner, that'll help. But as far as your offense, you have to go get some. I would just get rid of all of the receivers not named Cole Beasley and Switzer. Go give me two. Maybe give me a prominent receiver and free agent. I don't know what they're going to do with Dez. It's a lot of cap money to be cutting. But I'm pretty sure they got some stipes in there where, it'll help them financially if they do cut them or they do trade them. But Terrence Williams got to go. I'm bringing in, 2 or 3 two receivers at least. A number one guy, maybe a veteran number one guy that can play 1 or 2, and I'm bringing in a nice rookie first 2 or 3 rounds that I think can come in and contribute, because I think as much as people want to indict Dak Prescott for the losses and what's going on this season, I think it's based on, they don't have the pass catchers, period. Maybe find you a tight end in the future. I don't know about that Rico Gathers guy. But Ezekiel Elliott and Sean Lee, they thought they was going to save their season. Dallas is, which is fans are always optimistic to the highest point. Most of the time, that's what will make them fans. But, even Sean Lee can say the defense. Y'all can make all the excuses y'all want. Follow Skip Bayless. Even Zeke can say, people forget Zeke in the beginning of the year was getting stuffed and quitting on the team versus Denver. and then he found his little swag because they was playing sub-bar opponents, and then that got him back on track. Then he got the suspension. And I thought he would have a big day today. But anytime you say, "Oh, I'm gonna rush for 200 yards on a defense that's as prideful as the Seattle Seahawks," I mean, he set himself up for failure. He had an okay game coming back. But at the end of the day, Seattle is still a team defense. They still got pride and all that stuff. So, at the end of the day, Seahawks did what they had to do. They gonna move on and try to win in Arizona next week and try to clinch a playoff spot. Dallas is moving on. The draft is in Dallas this year. But they got Zeke still. I think Prescott will be able to bounce back with some new pass catchers, and that's what they're going to have to do. They got to use their scouting department, bring in some pass catchers, bring in some pass rushers, maybe a linebacker or two, maybe a number one corner if they can find one in there, replace Heath at safety, and continue to get better. And get a new coaching staff, too. I think the coaching staff is over with. They got Detroit Lion rejects and Rob Marinelli and Scott Linehan. They didn't work in Detroit. What makes you think they're going to work in Dallas? I mean, Jason Garrett, he might be the perfect coach for the Cowboys by Jerry Jones standards because Jerry Jones basically tells him everything to do. He doesn't. I don't believe Jason Garrett has creative control over anything really, unless Jerry Jones approves it. So if y'all asking for a new coaching staff, at the end of the day, ask for a new general manager, a new owner, because Jerry really makes the decisions from that press box, I believe, and overall for the season, and that's factual. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's facts. So what's good is a whole head coach, bringing in a head coach if he don't have creative control. That's what Bill Parcells left. If everything every major decision you got to check it by Jerry. Why is Jerry, paying the head coach when Jerry can make those major decisions himself and come down and coach, So that's always been the issues with the Cowboys. It's not that Jerry don't want to spend money, Jerry is frugal, or, Jerry just don't know the game of football. Jerry don't want to let it go. Jerry don't want to let somebody come in and build and show him how to do it the new age way, And that's it. These old guys, they're stuck in their ways and can't transform and can't evolve with the new times of football like Jeff Fisher, Jerry Jones, and guys of that ilk. You have to be able to evolve. And you see guys like Tom Coughlin able to evolve and able to get his style to work. Mac Zimmer, old guys, able to evolve and get their style to work. And Jerry Jones need to become more flexible and let somebody be more hands-on and make the decisions and stop being so hands-on. Let somebody come in there and just do their job and trust in them and trust in their ability and trust what they're doing. Because what you've been doing the last 20, 30 years, it ain't been working. But it is what it is. We gone.